You're getting a Spider-Man trailer, and you're getting a Spider-Man trailer, and you're getting half of a Spider-Man trailer. We're breaking down all of this week's Spider-Man Homecoming footage on today's Nerdist News. Homecoming is here, losers! Time to ask out that crush, throw on some fly new threads, and hit the town with our web slingers. That's cause we're talking about Spider-Man Homecoming. Last night, 2 trailers hit for the webhead's summer outing, the American version and the international one. And if Peter Parker's debut in Civil War didn't get you excited about this movie, well then, you're dead inside and we can't help you. But for the rest of us, these trailers have only ratcheted up the hype. They're both packed with so many awesome details and Easter eggs that you just can't help but feel Spidey has finally found the perfect home within the MCU. And we're gonna break down all those details right now. First up, let's talk about that new Spidey suit, or should we say Spidey suits. Throughout the trailers, we actually see several incarnations of Peter Parker's red and blue underoos. There are a few shots of him in his early hoodie costume, specifically in the bus yard sequence and the beach shot. Is that Coney Island in the background? And in this shot from the teaser trailer, we can clearly see he's still wearing his Mach 1 pre-Stark Tech web slingers. And of course, the majority of the trailer features a brand new post-Civil War suit with several impressive upgrades, including wings and a quick change button. So despite all of the promises of no more origin stories, it seems like Homecoming will, at least in some small part, delve into Peter's familiar backstory. Now let's talk bad guys. Both trailers open on an ATM heist by a bunch of costume shop Avengers, but while their disguises may lack style, their tech sure don't. Those purple energy weapons are definitely not standard issue for most NYC criminals. So where did they come from? Could they be Infinity Stone based? Nope. This is clearly old Chitauri tech that got discarded after the Battle of New York in the first Avengers. But who could be tinkering this alien tech into tools for common cat burglars? The Tinker, of course. Even though we don't see him in the trailer, we've known for quite some time that Michael Chernus would be portraying Parker's enemy with an engineering degree, and we think all this low-grade high-tech tyranny has got to be his doing. It's also worth noting that it looks like they pulled this scene straight from issue 42 of the Ultimate Spider-Man comic book. Moving up the Rogues Gallery food chain, we also know that Fargo star Bokeem Woodbine will be playing the villain that every frat guy loves to name-check, the Shocker. We actually see a few shots of Shocker in the international trailer, battling Spidey in a bus yard with some subpar energy gauntlets. But we also get this shot a little bit later of a dude dressed in Shocker gear who is most definitely not Bokeem Woodbine. Things get even more interesting when you take a look at this leaked call sheet where Bokeem is listed as Shocker number 2. Could there be more than one Shocker in this movie? And if so, who is our first Shocker? And most importantly, that one almost got me. And most importantly, did Stan Lee know how gross he was being when he named him the Shocker? We may never know the answer to the last one, but as for the other 2 questions, let's rewind the tape. That non-Bokeem dude has a friend standing alongside him, former Peter Parker hopeful Donald Glover, and notice the gold chain he's wearing, very similar to the gold chain being worn by the Shocker in this leaked set shot. Our theory: Glover is the real Shocker and Bokeem is just his guinea pig for the tech. And then there's the movie's biggest bad, the Vulture. After seeing the more techno-tinged suit revealed in concept art back at Comic-Con, we're finally starting to see just what Michael Keaton's winged criminal mastermind can do. The answer? Fire a Chitauri laser beam whilst flying through the air. Man, the MCU is really getting a ton of mileage out of that Chitauri tech. This Vulture costume is a lot more mechanical, not unlike the way classic Spidey villain costumes were reimagined for the Amazing Spider-Man duology, but check out the frills on that neck. A nice nod to his more feathery Steve Ditko comics past. Overall, this take on the Vulture looks more like an experienced aviator than a crazed old man, especially in that badass silhouette shot that we see partway into the international trailer. So what's this guy's deal? He has no qualms about killing a young teen and everyone that young teen loves. He appears to already work with other criminals as he claims it's time to change with the increasingly superheroic times, just as we see a group of thieves wielding Chitauri tech. Is he some sort of gang leader, a master thief with a loyal crew of sub-villains? Either way, it looks like he and Peter have some history as we see a bruised and beaten Spidey looking up at the Vulture on the beach near Coney Island in his original pre-Tony Stark suit. Could Vulture have had something to do with Uncle Ben's death? God, I hope not, because I mean, Jesus we get it. Seriously though, right? No. And speaking of we get it, Did you guys know that the new Spidey movie takes place in the MCU? Because if you didn't, these trailers are here to make that fact explicitly clear. We've got bank robbers in Avengers masks, a portrait of Bruce Banner in Peter's science class, what looks to be Howard Stark in the science mural in the background, some Avengers signage in Avengers HQ, where Spidey seems to be auditioning for the Avengers with his surrogate dad, Tony Stark. We wondered just how connected Spidey's exploits would be in his first solo flick, since it's as much a Sony movie as it is a Marvel one, but the first footage has more than assured us that unlike Guardians of the Galaxy 2, this movie will be knee-deep in connective tissue to the MCU. But maybe the thing we're most excited about is that these trailers make good on Sony's promises of a truly teenage Spider-Man. This really is Peter Parker by way of The Breakfast Club. We get to see him pining for high school crush Liz Allen, who he later saves as she's plummeting down the elevator shaft in the Washington Monument. We see him hanging with his nerdy best friend, who is credited as Ned Leeds, but seems more inspired by Miles Morales' closest confidant, Genki Lee, especially when you consider the Lego Death Star that he drops. We even get some pretty cool glimpses of his childhood bedroom that's covered in Star Wars crap, which will probably be pretty relatable to a lot of people in the audience. By the way, can we take a look at what's there in the corner? An at. You've clearly seen The Empire Strikes Back, Peter, so you were just being a dick when you called it that old movie in Civil War.
You know that part with the walking thingy?
But all the same, this does seem like a take on the old wall crawler we haven't seen on screen yet, and that should give even its biggest critics something to look forward to. But what do you guys think? Are there even more details in these trailers that we just jumped over? Are our casting predictions on point? And is this homecoming worth getting excited about? Let's discuss. But before that, that's right! I did say at Dan Casey because it's f***ing at.
Yeah. Yep.
Check us out over at Nerdist.com and don't forget to like and subscribe for more Nerdist news. Sure, why not?